You are not as strong as you think. You've been sold a lie wrapped in pretty words. You've been made to believe weakness is a virtue, resignation is nobility, and suffering is a path to heaven. And you've bought it without protest. It's not your fault. Since birth, you've been trained to be weak, to bow your head, to feel guilty for your own power. You've been taught that strength is arrogance and humility is admirable. But the truth is different. The truth hurts. The truth is, you've been programmed to fail, and the worst part is, you don't even see it. Look at yourself. How many times have you hidden your thoughts to avoid offense? How many times have you lowered your gaze before someone undeserving? How many times have you pretended not to care while burning inside? You are not strong. You've become a prisoner of your own chains, but there's something worse than weakness. The lie. You've lied to yourself so often you no longer distinguish reality. Cowardice disguised as prudence. Fear dressed as morality. Submission wrapped in empathy. But it's not your fault. You were raised this way. Taught to feel guilty for wanting more. Ashamed of your instincts, to suppress your will for others. You were told sacrifice is noble, compassion sacred, success dangerous, ambition selfish, greatness a sin, and difference a threat. Do you know what Nietzsche would say about you? He'd call you a slave to a morality not your own, to a system that wants you docile, to a society that hates those who shine too brightly. Because if you shine, you force them to confront their mediocrity, and that terrifies them. The morality of slaves, that's what Nietzsche called it. A code of values created by the weak to feel superior to the strong. Don't you see it? It's a defense mechanism. Resentment turned into virtue, contempt disguised as kindness. It's the great inversion of values. What was once admired is now condemned. What was once despised is now celebrated. And you, without realizing it, have fallen into the trap. You believe compassion is kindness, but it's a tool of control. You believe humility is a virtue, but it's a form of submission. You believe resignation is acceptance, but it's cowardice. And they've convinced you this is for your own good. That strength is cruelty, ambition, greed, freedom, danger. So they've turned you into what you are, a prisoner of your mind, drowning in your own morality, denying your nature. But there's a way out, and it's not what they've told you. Nietzsche wasn't talking about physical strength or dominating others. He spoke of something far more powerful, the ability to face life without masks, excuses, or lies. To look in the mirror and say, "This is who I am," with all your light and shadow. True strength isn't in dominating others, but in not being dominated by your chains. It's not in impressing, but in being unshakable. Not in fitting in, but in destroying what holds you back. Strength is brutal honesty with yourself. It's accepting pain, loneliness, uncertainty, and moving forward anyway. It's not needing approval, not seeking compassion, not begging for love. It's looking at yourself with such brutal honesty it would scare anyone. And that's the problem. People don't want the truth. They prefer the comfort of weakness to the weight of responsibility. Because being strong is hard. It requires pain, sacrifice, tearing off your skin and rebuilding yourself from scratch. It requires abandoning excuses, narratives, and hiding places. Most aren't willing to do it. They prefer to blame the world, society, the system. They prefer resentment to responsibility, victimhood to creation. Because creation is risky. It means betting on yourself, jumping without a net. And that's terrifying. But if you've come this far, if these words resonate, it's because something in you resists dying. Something not yet fully domesticated. Something that knows there's more, that hasn't been defeated by mediocrity. That something is your will to power, your right to be great, your right to rewrite your story, the only one that matters. But time is running out. Not for the world, but for you. Every day you justify your weakness, every day you hide from your power, is a day you'll never get back. A day closer to irrelevance, to nothingness. Life doesn't wait. Either you take what's yours or someone else will. Either you destroy yourself to be reborn stronger, or the world will destroy you without mercy. There's no middle ground, no happy endings for those who wait. So choose. You can remain a slave to the morality of the weak, justifying your mediocrity, feeding the cycle of self-deception. Or you can rise, break free, and claim what's always been yours. The decision is yours. But remember, no one will save you. No one will rescue you. Either you save yourself or you die like the rest. Welcome to the truth. And here's the most dangerous part. They've not only taught you to be weak, shaped your mind to reject your strength, they've trained you to sabotage those who break free. Look closely. What happens when someone rejects mediocrity and builds their own destiny? They become an enemy, a threat, a target. Not because they harm others, but because their existence reminds others of their resignation. When someone rises and says, "I won't play by your rules," the crowd turns on them. They can't allow it. If one escapes, if one shows there's another way, the rest are left without excuses, naked before the truth that their weakness is a choice, not a destiny. And they can't tolerate that. That's why they destroy those who challenge the system. With mockery, contempt, insults, accusations of arrogance or cruelty. And if that fails, they drag you back, make you doubt, question yourself, return to the safe zone where they feel comfortable. Because the herd can't tolerate the sheep that becomes a wolf. You've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. Maybe you tried to do something great, something different, something beyond mediocrity, and instead of support, you found resistance. They called you crazy, unrealistic, selfish. They asked, "Who do you think you are?" But here's the dirty trick. Their resistance wasn't love or protection. It was fear. If you succeeded, if you showed another way, they'd have to face the terrifying question, "If he can, why can't I?" And the answer destroys them. Because the answer is, they could. They always could. They just didn't want to pay the price. But you can, and you do, and here's the key. If you want to transcend, you must accept a brutal truth. You'll be alone, at least for a while. Those who haven't awakened can't walk with you. They won't understand your vision. They'll attack you rather than admit they've lived deceived. This is Nietzsche's path of the Übermensch. Not a destination, but a process. A constant transformation, an endless evolution. It's not about reaching a point and saying, "I made it." It's about always moving, destroying and rebuilding yourself, never accepting limits imposed by others. And that path is lonely. Not because you should be alone forever, but because to find your tribe, you must first become someone worthy of being found. Who are you? Look at who you spend time with. Do they push you, challenge you, make you better? Or do they keep you stagnant, threatened by your growth, filling you with doubts and excuses? You can't build greatness in mediocrity. If your circle doesn't challenge you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. And here's the hard part. You must be willing to leave it all behind. People, ideas, beliefs, habits, everything that doesn't contribute to your transformation, everything that keeps you weak, must die. True strength isn't just enduring pain. It's letting go of what binds you. It's being ruthless with what keeps you weak. It's killing parts of yourself that no longer serve you, without pity, without nostalgia. Because the truth is, the person you are now can't take you where you want to be. You must change. You must destroy yourself and be reborn. Reborn, that's the key word. But it's not a comfortable rebirth. It's violent, brutal, like skin tearing off, like a metamorphosis that hurts so much you want to give up. Because no one tells you this. True change is painful. It hurts because it forces you to face who you are now. And who you are now is the result of years of conditioning, fear, lies you've accepted as truth. How many times have you said, "This is just how I am," to justify inaction? How many times have you told yourself you can't, it's too late? The world's unfair, so why try? Do you know what's truly unfair? Deep down, in that place you rarely dare to look, you know you could be more. That's the truth you try to bury. You could be stronger, smarter, freer. You could take control of your life instead of being dragged by it. But you don't. Because to do so, you'd have to leave behind the version of yourself accepted by others. And here's the biggest problem. People don't change because they fear being alone. That's the real reason. Not the effort, not the sacrifice, not the difficulty of the road. It's the fear of rejection. When you start to change, when you start to become a more powerful version of yourself, the world doesn't applaud you. It attacks you. Because your change is a threat. Your transformation is an affront to everything people have believed for years. And when they see you move forward, when they see you overcome what they've accepted as normal, their reaction isn't inspiration. It's resentment. They'll look at you with disdain. They'll say you're obsessed, that you've changed, that you're no longer the same, as if that's a bad thing. And you know what? They're right. You're no longer the same, and you should never want to be. Evolution isn't optional. It's the law. Life is constant change, perpetual transformation. What doesn't change stagnates, and what stagnates dies. Look at nature. An animal that stops moving becomes prey. A river that stops flowing becomes a stagnant puddle. The same goes for the mind, for life. But here's the trap. Since childhood, you've been told change is dangerous, that you must F in who you are and stay there, as if identity is fixed, immutable, carved in stone. But identity isn't a destination. It's a path. You're not a finished product. You never will be. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you'll start to move. Nietzsche said it. Become who you are. Not who you were, not who they expect you to be, but who you truly can be. And that means every day you must kill the version of yourself that no longer serves you. You must leave behind the beliefs imposed on you, the limits you've accepted without question, the invisible chains that have kept you stagnant for years. Because the reality is, most people never change because they never dare to question what they've been. Nietzsche said it. Become who you are. Not who you were, not who they expect you to be, but who you truly can be. And that means every day you must kill the version of yourself that no longer serves you. You must leave behind the beliefs imposed on you, the limits you've accepted without question, the invisible chains that have kept you stagnant for years. Because the reality is, most people never change because they never dare to question what they've been. They prefer the comfort of a prefabricated identity, given to them by parents, environment, society. And so, they spend their lives repeating the same stories, the same patterns, the same failures, as if incapable of writing a different chapter. But you're not the majority. If you've come this far, if these words resonate, it's because something in you resists dying in mediocrity. And here's the final truth. You must lose yourself to find yourself. You must destroy everything you thought you were, all the ideas that have tied you down, all the excuses you've used as shields. You must throw yourself into the void, without guarantees, without certainties, without a map. Because it's not about going back, it's about moving forward without looking back. And when they ask what happened to you, why you're no longer the same, why you no longer play by their rules, just smile. Because they'll never understand what it means to be reborn. And here you are, at the edge of the abyss. You've come this far. You've felt every word like a blow because deep down you know it's true. And now you face the final decision. Continue as before, or jump. But I warn you, if you choose to continue, if you turn off this video and return to the comfort of your routine, pretending this hasn't affected you, you'll make the worst mistake of your life. Because now, you know. Now, you can't deceive yourself. These words have planted a seed in you. You can try to ignore it, drown it with distractions, but sooner or later, it will return. Because that's how truth works. Once you see it, you can't go back to being blind. And then, every time you hold back out of fear, every time you accept less than you deserve, every time you stay silent when you want to scream, you'll remember this. You'll remember you could have changed. You'll remember you could have been more. And that's the worst punishment. Not failure, but the certainty that you could have been great, and you weren't. Because in the end, life isn't measured by successes or failures. It's measured by the difference between what you could have been and what you really were. The question is simple. How much of yourself will you waste? Will you continue carrying the chains others put on you? Will you justify your weakness with well-decorated excuses? Will you wait for the world to give you permission to be who you really are? Or will you take control of your story? Will you break free from everything that's held you back? Will you decide once and for all, to be the protagonist of your own life. I don't want you to answer now. I don't want a hollow yes. I want you to close your eyes. Imagine the best version of yourself, the version unafraid, unstoppable, unapologetically great. Now, look at yourself today. Would that version admire you or despise you? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, you know what you must do. Now it's your turn. Leave a comment with the phrase, "I'm ready to be reborn." Not for me, for you. So every time you return to this video, you'll remember the moment you decided you'd no longer be the same. If this message has shaken you, if it's stirred something inside you, subscribe. Because here we don't speak for the herd, we speak for those ready to awaken. See you in the next video, if you still have the courage to face the truth.